Hello, I am Dr. Chanel Serano, and welcome to Tip of the Day for Single Moms of Faith by Dr. Chanel. If you've been following me, especially for the last couple weeks, I've been focusing on home is where the heart is. And so, with that, I've been sharing tools and strategies for parents, especially for my single moms, just some different ideas on how to lead your home and your family. So I spoke to leadership styles, as well as self-care, and also the spiritual gifts or love languages of your children. And so today I will be primarily focused on parenting styles. Okay, so stay tuned. I'm sure you're going to take away some great information to help you. All right, so I like to share more in particular three main parenting styles. However, I will briefly mention a fourth one at the end. And really, parenting styles were developed in 1967 by Dr. Diana Baumrind, and she focused primarily on authoritative, authoritarian, and the permissive parenting styles. And so when you think of parenting styles, think of a spectrum. On one end, we have authoritarian. On the other end, we have permissive. And somewhere in the middle, we have authoritative. And really, what she was doing with her research was looking at the interaction between the parent and the child. She was looking at various factors, including demandingness, or in other words, expectations, the level of structure in the home, as well as warmth and acceptance, or the parent's ability of being emotionally in tune with their children. Okay, so the first parenting style that we're going to talk about is the authoritarian parenting style. And if you remember back to one of my first videos or former videos, I spoke to leadership styles, and one in particular I spoke of was on the autocratic leadership style. And the reason why I bring that up is because it closely aligns to the authoritarian parenting style. And in this particular parenting style, authoritarian, primarily focusing on structure, very high on providing consistent rules, discipline, looking at the results, productivity, etc., in the authoritarian parenting style. So on one end, very high on structure, but not so much on the emotional attachment or being emotionally in tune with the child. Okay, very similar again to the autocratic leadership style. And with this particular parenting style, pretty much more so of an approach of what I say goes. There really isn't much room for negotiation or questions or conversation. But pretty much the parent, not pretty much, but completely, the parent is making the decision and laying down the rules, and that's how it's going to move forward. So that's more so the authoritarian parenting style. On the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the permissive parenting style. And so in the permissive parenting style, complete opposite from authoritarian. Permissive parenting style focuses high on being emotionally in tune, but not so much on the structure. Okay. So with the permissive style, and I have my notes here, primarily research is showing that with the permissive parenting style may have an increase in impulsive behavior, lack of discipline or limited self-control within the children under the permissive parenting style. And then in the end or in the middle of the spectrum, we have the authoritative parenting style. And research suggests that this is probably the most ideal parenting style, where it is a healthy balance or a healthy harmony between the two, where we are providing a structured environment with healthy discipline, setting boundaries, consistent rules, expectations, but we're also being able to balance that with being emotionally in tune with our children as well. Some of the activities that we may see in an authoritative parenting style home would be monitoring grades, so academic performance, as well as setting curfews or implementing chores, incentives, reward system, as well as on the emotional side, being mindful of having emotional check-ins or having conversations with your children just to touch base and see how things are going. So we'll see that mostly primarily in the authoritative leadership, or excuse me, authoritative parenting style. Some other things that you may see, or the result of using an authoritative parenting style, would be higher academic grades, high self-esteem, as well as having the ability to develop critical thinking skills and being independent thinkers in our children. And on the outside of the spectrum, and this last parenting style came much later, and this is the neglective or the neglectful parenting style. And this particular style is really one that it appears that the parent is detached, if you will, or uninvolved emotionally or otherwise from the child. And so usually when we tend to see that, there are definitely some other factors, other dynamics that we're looking at as well. So just a recap, we have the authoritarian parenting style. Okay, again, very high on structure, on rules, on discipline, on consistency, but very low on emotional involvement. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have permissive, where we're very high on the emotional involvement with our children, but very low on structure. And then we have the middle again, which is the authoritative parenting style, which is research suggests is the most ideal and most healthy, where we're finding a healthy balance between the two of structure as well as being emotionally in tune. Okay. And some things to think about and to consider as you're developing your parenting style. And again, as I always say, parenting is not a destination, it is a journey. So there's always room for improvement. And also, you know, some other factors we're looking at is age, age of our children, maybe the season in which our family is in. Perhaps you're a solo parent, but maybe you are dating or moving into courtship. This is definitely something that you want to discuss with your future significant other. Perhaps they have a completely different parenting style than you do. So definitely being in alignment as it pertains to blending the family and raising children. What are the views on discipline? What are the views on structure, on being emotionally in tune? What does that look like in the physical sense? Okay. And then, of course, some other things that we consider as well is also how you were raised, right? And so as adults, and as you look back at your own parenting, whether there were some things that maybe you agreed with now as an adult, or maybe that you don't agree with now as an adult, what you like to tweak, maybe some things that you like to implement in your own parenting. So there is definitely an array of different factors that we look into. And then lastly, for me as a mandated reporter, and for those of you who are mandated reporters, if there are some concerns, if you have run into someone or you know someone who has some questionable parenting behavior and you're suspicious of possible abuse or abusive behavior or an unhealthy dynamic in the home, please, please, by all means, I strongly encourage you. And again, as mandated reporters, I would suggest to definitely contact your local governmental agency who is responsible for investigating abuse of children. Okay, so any questions or any comments, I definitely welcome you to either drop a little comment below or send me an email at esthersdaughtersllc at gmail.com. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Be blessed, be safe, and stay healthy. And remember that parenting is not a destination, but it is a journey. Be blessed, everyone.